I grew up in a small town. Total population was maybe 2,000. Everyone knew everyone else, or at least knew your family members. It was a safe town, with mostly middle class working families. Nothing major ever happened, and the crime rates were low. I grew up feeling safe and secure. To note, I grew up in the 90s. One summer day, my good friend Jenny and I were out for a bike ride. We were 11 or 12 years old. We were allowed to bike anywhere we wanted, as long as we didn't leave our town and wore our helmets. There was a new road being constructed in between the two main neighborhoods. The new road was to provide a shorter way of accessing the main road to get to the next town. At the time, the road was still under construction, but was nearly complete. All that was left was paving and painting. Jenny and I decided to bike down the gravel road. Jenny and I were about halfway down the road. The road was about a kilometer long. At the halfway point, we noticed a man walking. He was early 30s and very handsome. I didn't recognize him, and Jenny didn't either. As we got closer, he broke out a big smile and said hello. We said hello back, as he didn't seem threatening or scary. He asked us if we were having a good summer, and we said yes. He told Jenny and I he was a photographer from a nearby city and was in town to scout out models for his new postcard company. He said Jenny and I had very beautiful features. He said everything in a very flattering way that made us feel special. He said we could be models. He asked if he could take our pictures. He said we had the look he wanted, and the scenery right now is perfect to promote the town. He said he knows he will sell tons of postcards, and we could all make money. Jenny and I eagerly agreed. He got us to stand with our hands on our hips and smile big. He took a disposable camera out of his back pocket and began snapping photos. He took about 10 photos in totals, from many angles. I remember feeling a little uneasy and said we should probably go because we needed to be home soon. He said we should get in touch with our principal on our first day of school to give us some money from the postcard sales. We foolishly confirmed we went to the local elementary school. Though it was the only elementary school in town, so it wouldn't be hard to figure out. Neither Jenny or I remember to this day giving him our names. This is an important detail for later. Jenny and I talked about becoming famous on the way home. I told Jenny that I wondered why he didn't have a professional camera. She said she wondered that too, but we agreed cameras are expensive, so maybe he didn't have a nice one with him in case it rained. That evening at supper, I told my parents about the potential newfound fame. They were horrified and got on the phone with Jenny's parents. The two sets of parents called police and gave statements. Police sort of downplayed it a little bit and said it was unusual, but nothing criminal had happened. My parents had a long talk with me about safety, as did Jenny's parents with her. The following spring, Jenny and I were hanging out together. This time, a little older and a little wiser and a lot more cautious. We were walking along a quiet side street, just talking about music and TV shows. A minivan approached us and slowed down. A friendly looking woman asked us if we knew where Smith Road was. We told her she just needed to drive straight for less than a minute, and it's the first right-hand turn. She said she was having difficulty finding it, and would we mind hopping in and showing her? I instantly said no. Jenny also declined. Then the woman said it was okay because she knows who we are. She called us both by first names and said she saw us on a postcard. By now, we were both freaked out. We were on a stretch of the road that had no houses. The nearest one was about 100 meters away, and it wasn't common for people to have cell phones back then, so neither Jenny or I had one. The woman continued to ask us to get in her van. Jenny, who is normally super chatty, was stiff, and I could tell she was scared. Suddenly, and seemingly out of nowhere, Jenny screamed, "Run!" I didn't know what was happening, but I ran and followed Jenny. We ran off the road and through a field and into a yard of another house. I recognized the yard and the house as belonging to a school teacher. We pounded on her door and she answered. We told her what happened, and then Jenny said something I will never forget. She said she saw the photographer man from last summer crouching down in the very back row of the seats. She said she knew something bad was going to happen. Police and our parents were called. We gave statements and a vehicle description, as well as descriptions of the man and the woman. Unfortunately, the police were never able to locate them. Jenny and I never saw them again. We had some serious trust issues with strangers after those encounters, and I had nightmares of being kidnapped into early adulthood. Always make sure to teach your children that strangers are not safe, no matter how nice they are. My situation could have had a much more unfortunate outcome if things had gone even slightly different. Those are two people I sincerely hope to never, ever meet again.